This video will be a little bit different from my previous videos. For starters, while it's a video of me painting a Balrog, it's not really about painting a Balrog. Also, it's scripted, and as you know from all my ums and ahs, you can tell that my other videos aren't scripted. I wanted to talk about something that's going on in the hobby, but that extends to the world. To set the scene, there's a company called AK Interactive, which makes paints and pigments and weathering pencils, and all sorts of the little things that people like me use to make models. They're a relatively small company, but all wargame companies are relatively small. The biggest player in the industry is Games Workshop, and even they're not really big by most standards. Now let me say up front that I don't have much interest in AK Interactive other than that I'm a big fan of their weathering pencils, which are a terrific product. But I don't follow them on Facebook, and I don't follow them on Twitter, so I heard about all of this secondhand, but I've been researching it all week. Apparently a big announcement was going to be made, and AK Interactive was going to release a trailer one day, the trailer the next day, and then a full video on the third day and link to a big new product. They really hyped it up. What happened, and I've watched this video even though AK has scrubbed it from their site, is that the first trailer was showing footage of the Holocaust. And not just modern shots of Auschwitz and memorials, they were showing people being shot, bodies being pushed en masse by bulldozers into ditches. They showed ovens. They showed people being shot. And all of this took place with ominous music ending with the word condemnation coming September 3rd. Well, the internet went into an uproar. There is literally no product imaginable that needs to be advertised by seeing Jews herded into gas chambers. Facebook went wild, comment after comment about how inappropriate this was. Of course, there were the occasional apologists who said that they shouldn't censor the past, but you got the feeling that they were the Gamergate variety of people, the type of wargamers who purposely paint swastikas on their tanks just to get a rise out of people, even though very few tanks ever had swastikas on them. After a few hours of what I can only imagine was panic at AK Interactive, they made a decision. And it was not the smart decision to pull the video and apologize. Instead, they seemed to think that what they needed was more context to understand their vision. So they released the next day's trailer early. And this trailer? Shots of Rwandan genocide. 30 seconds of what was essentially a mass genocidal snuff film where people shot guns and bodies crumpled to the ground. And it ended with the word condemnation coming September 3rd. People lost their minds. You just don't do this. This would not be okay at any time, but in a political climate where racial tensions are already at the breaking point, you don't just murder Jews and Tutsis to sell what? Paint? Weathering pencils? Eventually everything was pulled offline, and quietly the book Condemnation was posted on their online store, and it is a book of dioramas depicting horrible atrocities, including, I kid you not, a step-by-step guide as to how to build a gas chamber. Here's the thing. I work in the corporate world, and I've been a product manager. For a product to get launched, it has to jump through a lot of hoops. And with a company as small as AK Interactive, which at a guess I'd say has fewer than 15 employees, the very most senior management had to sign off on this. Managers and designers and graphic artists had to have watched that genocidal footage dozens, if not hundreds of times, and it never crossed their minds that it might be wrong. No, wait, I take that back. Maybe it crossed their minds. It probably did. But they did it anyway. They wanted to be edgy. They wanted to push boundaries. For whatever reason, they wanted to publish a book about horrible dioramas. Guys, read the room. This is not the time and not the place. The company is based in Spain, but I don't think that gives them a pass in realizing that the world is growing more fascist and racist all the time, and not just in the United States, but in Britain and Brazil and a dozen other countries. I'm currently reading the book So You Want to Talk About Race for my company's book club, and kudos to my company for choosing it. In it, the author makes the following statement. If you live in this system of white supremacy, you are either fighting the system or you are complicit. There is no neutrality to be had toward systems of injustice. It is not something you can just opt out of. So what is all this about? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to fight the system. We're supposed to not be neutral. I won't be complicit anymore. This isn't about boycotting a company and refusing to buy their weathering pencils anymore. This is about committing to take a stand against racism in all its forms. If you've made it this far into the video, thanks for sticking with me. I'll still be putting out regular content, but I had to say something, and I had to say it today. Thank you.